Before all this, I was a very private person. I would have never shared something this personal, but after what happened, I just couldn't keep it to myself. I met the 5-year-old version of me, and then I died, and I was somehow reborn. And I connected with something beyond this world. And I was shown things that I still don't have words for. And then there was this one moment, one that opened my heart in a way that I didn't think was possible. And I reconnected with someone that I thought I lost forever. And at that point on, I just knew that this was more than a personal journey. And I can't explain any of it. But this is my story. My first introduction to plant medicine happened in April 2024. It started with a rapé ceremony. If you don't know, rapé is a traditional Amazonian snuff that's blown gently into each nostril. A lot of times it's made with finely ground tobacco that's often combined with like other sacred plants, ashes, and herbs. But a lot of indigenous tribes have used it for centuries for cleansing, not just physically, but energetically and spiritually too. And it's not something I ever imagined myself doing, but in that first ceremony, I remember I had multiple visions, and I connected with something deep, something deeper. And in that moment, I received what people call a download. And I didn't know what that meant until it happened to me. But the medicine revealed that there's some sadness that was buried deep inside of me. And I couldn't explain, where it was coming from, because it didn't seem like it was connected to any specific memory or thought. It was just there, just pure sadness. And I remember I started crying, and I didn't know why. And at the time, I didn't know where it was coming from. So because I couldn't make sense of it, after the ceremony, I just sort of brushed it off, and I let it go and went back to life as usual. Then 5 months later, in September, I sat in my first mushroom ceremony, which that was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. It completely shifted my reality, and I connected with some intelligence that was trying to teach me different things about life. And again, near the end of that journey, the same feeling returned, that sadness. And I just thought it was just really strange, because I'm not someone who walks around feeling sad, and pretty motivated. I've done a lot of work on myself, and honestly, I've made a lot of peace with a lot of the harder parts of my life. I didn't think I had any unresolved trauma holding me back, so I was just confused as to why is this sadness keep showing up again. But just like the first time, I didn't know what to do with it, so again, I just let it go. And then a month later, the same group that had hosted those ceremonies announced that they were holding an ayahuasca retreat. And for some reason, I just knew I had to go. I felt this deep pull. Something in me already knew it was time. And so the day after Thanksgiving, I got on a plane and flew out to Peru. Walking up to the Maloka, it didn't feel real. A part of me was like, wow, I'm really about to do this. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but I've heard stories, stories of people walking in one way and walking out completely changed. And so I was just really excited. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was going to face, but I just felt ready and open. I didn't have any expectations. I wasn't trying to force anything, but I was open to whatever needed to happen. You'll come across a lot of retreat centers when you start looking into plant medicine. And for me, I didn't want to feel like I was checking into some trendy resort or a packed group resort. I wanted to feel like close to nature and something close to the source. And I'm just really grateful that my first experience was at the Garden of Peace. They're not flashy, but I feel like they're like deeply intentional, and there's like a level of care and presence there it's hard to put into words, but I really feel like they over-delivered. And, after experiencing it, I just don't know if I'd go anywhere else. checking into my casita, as I stepped inside, I just felt super excited. This was going to be my home for the next week, and it was just so nice. I could hear the river flowing just outside. I was surrounded by the jungle. I remember thinking, okay, I'm really here. Let's really see what this place is going to teach me. Tomorrow's the big day. It's our first ceremony, and leading up to this moment, I've been following a pretty strict diet. But to prepare, we participated in a tobacco purge by drinking a powerful Amazonian tobacco followed by a lot of water. And really the intention is to purge, and it's really designed to cleanse you physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Let's just say it was really intense, but it really helps you connect deeper with ayahuasca and help clear the way for what's to come. I remember waking up in the morning thinking, this is it. So the day began with a sacred clay mud bath down by the river, and it's a ritual to help us cleanse and prepare before the ceremony. And soon after, we met Maestro Reconnecting, and Reconnecting is a well-respected Shipibo shaman, and he's part of a lineage that's been practicing for generations. And, thinking about it, honestly, it mattered to me more than I actually expected, because in the world of ayahuasca, not every shaman is legit. In fact, it could be risky if you're not careful. So knowing that he carried a deep tradition and that he devoted his life to this work, it just gave me a peace of mind I didn't realize I needed. And it allowed me to let go of any doubt or fear and just be fully present as I step into the unknown. For the final part of the pre-ceremony cleansing, we took part in a plant bath. And this is water that's infused with a lot of healing plants meant to cleanse and protect, really help align our energy with the intentions of the ceremony. And it wasn't just about, rinsing the body. It felt like a ritual almost, like helping us cross into a new space and preparing us for what was to come. And after that, we returned to our casitas and got ready for the big night. This was it. We all gathered in the Maloka, and I remember feeling excited, nervous, anxious, all hit me at once. There was a part of me that felt ready, and another part of me just couldn't fully grasp what I was stepping into. There was a few candles flickering in the center of the room, and there was this quiet tension in the air that you could just feel. And one by one, we took turns. We stepped forward to drink the ayahuasca, and many of us whispered our own intentions before we drank. And then the maestro drank last, and then without a word, they blew out the candles. Aside from the moonlight pouring in through the opening of the Maloka, I couldn't see anyone. It was pitch black. No faces, no bodies, just shadows, and you could hear the jungle just come alive. And I remember I sat with my back against the wall and I had my eyes closed, and I just started breathing deeply to try to calm my thoughts. And about 20 minutes in, I noticed like specks of lights, and then those lights started forming a pattern in different shapes. And right at that moment, the maestro began singing, and you could feel the energy in the room just completely change, almost like a wave moving through the darkness. As I was watching the lights dance, they started shifting quickly into these vivid neon-colored patterns, which I felt like I was being pulled into some tunnel of color and energy. And I remember at the time I could still hear the sounds of the jungle, the crickets, the frogs, but something strange started to happen where the sounds of the jungle weren't coming from outside of me anymore. It's almost as if the sounds of the jungle were originating from within me, as if like my body and the sounds of the jungle merged into one. And that's when things started speeding up real fast. It got intense, and flashes and the colors. I remember I leaned back and I started looking around, and I noticed I was still in the Maloka, but something was different now. That the space felt familiar but completely transformed, like I stepped in through some invisible doorway, and it's almost as if like I was sitting in this reality, but there was another one layered on top of our reality, and it felt like I was in both at the same time. So my body was in Maloka, but my consciousness was in another dimension that was occupying the same space. And I remember at that moment I had no idea who I was about to meet, but something came through. Out of nowhere, I felt this presence, and it was like an awareness had entered the space, and suddenly I started seeing images of myself when I was 5 years old. I didn't understand what was going on or why I was seeing these images, but then this telepathic communication started coming through, and it wasn't just words, it was more like a deep knowing, and something was telling me that something had happened to me at that age, and that version of me got stuck, and he didn't grow up with me. He got left behind and somehow trapped in a loop. So for nearly 40 years, he was all alone and scared and disconnected from me, and didn't show me exactly what happened, but it made me feel how he had been feeling all of these years, and all the emotions and the deep sadness. I just remember feeling it was so unbearable. It wasn't a regular sadness, it was like pure heartbreak. And I just remember crying and purging through my eyes. I've never cried like that in my entire life. And I remember clenching my jaw and screaming into my shirt because I was so loud, and I didn't want to disrupt the ceremony, but the pain was just too much to hold in. And I remember then it went on to show me how my subconscious mind kind of locked him away, not out of neglect, but to manage the pain and protect me. And I was just in total shock. And I remember feeling something deep within me was getting cracked open. Suddenly, the whole focus of the journey shifted. It wasn't about visions and insights anymore. It was about reuniting with a part of me that had been forgotten. It was about love. And I saw flashes of my family and faces of people that have come into my life, and then I remember something switched on, and it was like a light in my heart that I didn't know had been off. And I felt this love come through, and it was so strong, it felt like it was the first time I'd ever truly felt love. And I remember at that time that door opened, and I was reunited with my 5-year-old self, and he came through, and I felt this warm hug, and it all started to make sense. He had been trying to get my attention for years, like in that first rapé ceremony. That was him. The sadness I felt, that was him reaching out. And during the mushroom ceremony, I remember seeing a fragmented version of myself, and that sadness was there. The message had always been there. I just couldn't hear it until now. And then it all started to fade away, and the ceremony started to come to an end. And I remember I opened my eyes, and it felt like I just got out of a coma. The candles were being lit, and I could see everybody just kind of waking up. And I remember thinking, where did I just go? And the wild part is, everything I shared, that's only half of what happened. And I'm still unpacking everything. The next morning, I was still shocked. I mean, the mushroom experience I had a month earlier was powerful, but this ayahuasca just took me to a completely different level, and I felt like my soul had been cracked open, and now this 5-year-old version of me, a part of me that's been like frozen in time for over 40 years, is now finally free. And I kept wondering, what now? What do I do with him? How do I integrate that? Someone told me that this is just the beginning, that we still have 3 more ceremonies, and that the medicine can work in layers, and each ceremony can pick up from where the last one left off. And I don't know, I just felt excited. I kept thinking, what else am I going to see? What's waiting for me on the other side? That morning we all gathered around in the Maloka for a sharing circle, and everyone had a chance to share their journey and talk about their experiences. And I remember looking around thinking, just yesterday, everyone here were strangers to me, and I had my usual walls up, friendly but guarded. But something shifted after that ceremony. I felt that layer of separation somehow diminish, like there was a real sense of connection and a feeling of love for people that I'd barely spoken to, and that's not normal for me. And like I mentioned earlier, I rarely share my own story, and I usually keep all my challenges to myself. But when it came to my turn, something lifted and I felt called to share it. For the first time in a long time, I actually let people in. I was open and it felt good. I must have walked up and down that river a dozen times that day, trying to process everything the night before. There was just something powerful about just being alone in nature with the sound of the water and being surrounded by the jungle. It really helped me reflect in a way that I'd never had before. And I felt like something really shifted inside of me. It wasn't just in my head, my thoughts, or my mind. It was like my body, my energy, and the way I was seeing everything. And I remember thinking, wow, if that was just the beginning, I really want to be ready for what comes next. So I went back to the casita and just took time to sit with myself, quiet my mind, and really get clear on my intention. And I just remember feeling like I wanted to show up fully. I didn't want to go through the motions. I wanted to meet the medicine halfway. And as the sun started to go down, I felt calm and ready for ceremony number 2. As night fell, I started walking towards the Maloka for the ceremony, and I remember feeling a mix of nerves. It was part excitement, but then also part anticipation, like the kind that you feel when you know something big is about to happen, but you don't know exactly what it's going to be. And I remember when we got there, we all sat around, we drank the ayahuasca, and about 20 minutes in, I could feel something was different this time. It was way different. Normally, I'd start seeing sparks of lights or some type of visual or familiar patterns, but this time there was nothing. It was almost like a heavy, overwhelming energy that came over me, and the medicine felt 10 times stronger, and I remember I just started to panic. I opened my eyes and it looked like I was trapped in some black box filled with smoke. It felt like I wasn't in the Maloka anymore, and that's when the paranoia started to creep in. I started thinking, is there something wrong with me? Did I take too much? Am I losing control? My sense of reality started glitching, almost like in and out, like a signal cutting in and out. Nothing felt stable, and I started freaking out, and the fear just crept in, and I remember it was snowballing, building up, and the more afraid I became, the worse it got. And I remember feeling like I was trapped in my own mind with no way out. And in that moment of panic, I did the only thing that I could think of at the time. I reached out and I touched the floor of the Maloka because I wanted confirmation I was still in there, and just to remind myself, okay, I'm physically still here, I'm still in my body. And once I realized that, I kind of relaxed, and little by little the fear began to dissolve. But then out of nowhere, I felt this pull, like something was calling me, and I tried to resist it, but it was just too strong. And then I got pulled into this tunnel or portal made up of living streams of light, each one a different color, pulsing with energy. And it wasn't just visual, it was almost intelligent. Like these streams of light felt like they somehow knew me, and they've been waiting for me to arrive. And then it hit me, something unlocked, and I remembered them, not from this life, but something deeper. A part of me recognized them, like I've arrived, like I've come home. And it's hard to explain, but I wasn't discovering something new. I was almost like remembering something ancient or familiar. Then the portal led me to these bizarre 3D worlds with moving pyramids and floating spheres. Nothing made logical sense, but it was hypnotic, because the longer I stared, the more I felt myself slipping away, almost like my identity was melting or merging into the world that I was in. And for a moment, I thought, and I somehow knew that if I kept on staring, I was going to die. So I looked away and I pulled back all of my attention. And I remember I was thrown into another world where in the middle there was this massive hurricane swirling in the middle meet up with all those streams of lights and all this energy, and it felt like it was the end. I somehow knew this was the point of no return. I just knew there was no going back. What I experienced was an ego death, and I know that phrase gets thrown around a lot, but for me it felt like I truly died. Not in a scary way, but more like a part of me I always thought I was completely dissolved, and there was this moment where I genuinely believed I'd never come back again, never see my friends, my family, never return to the life I knew. It felt that real. And in the beginning I was filled with fear, but when I made the decision to let go, all I felt was gratitude. Just so much gratitude. And it's like I wasn't sad for leaving them behind, but just a deep appreciation that they were ever part of my life at all. Sadness came when I had to say goodbye to me. This identity I've carried around all my life, this voice in my head, the one who's been with me through everything, through every mistake. Every breakthrough, every moment that I've never shared with anyone. Letting him go was hard. And that was sad. But somehow, it was also the most freeing thing I've ever felt. Right before I surrendered, time slowed, and it's like I saw clearly how small our problems really are. The stress, the comparisons, the fear of judgment, the things we chase to prove our worth, they all faded in the background. And what truly stood out, what truly mattered, were my experiences, the whole messy, beautiful story of my life. The moments that brought me joy and the ones that broke me, even the trauma, I wouldn't erase a single thing. Because for the first time I saw through a lens without ego, and what was left was peace. And not the type that you talk about, but the kind that you feel. And that death, that ego death, was one of the greatest gifts I've ever received, because I got to meet a part of me that has always been there. As I was getting ready for the next ceremony, I'll be honest, I was still nervous. The memory of what it felt like my own death, it was still on my mind, and it's something that you just don't forget, or you bounce back like nothing happened. And I remember fear started to creep into my mind, and I started thinking about different things, and my mind started doing what minds do. And I remember I was having thoughts of, you've already gone deep enough, you don't have to go back. And I've heard that voice all my life, and I thought I didn't leave the comfort of my home and travel across the world just to stop halfway. So I took a deep breath, and I reminded myself why I came. And when night fell, I walked back to the Maloka, and I was still scared, but I was fully committed. After they blew out the candles, my nerves were high. I started box breathing and focusing on my breath, try to get settled in. And about 20 or 25 minutes later, I started seeing specks of lights again, which it kind of calmed me down because it was something familiar, but this time it was a little bit different. The energy was different, and I remember I received a transmission, and it said something like, you don't have to worry, or like, don't be so scared this time. This journey will be like the last. I looked up, and I'm not exaggerating, the entire dome of the Maloka turned into a galaxy, a huge spinning living galaxy. And I remember at that time a presence entered the space, and I couldn't see who it was, but it was like a group of beings, and it wasn't just like any beings. It felt like a group that was sacred or divine. It was overwhelming, and I felt unworthy to even be in the same space. And I remember they didn't speak with words. It was all telepathic, and immediately something shifted, like something turned on, like I knew they had access to everything in my mind. They can see every thought I ever had, every memory, every life experience was all exposed. And it was like standing there completely naked, not just in body, but in full spirit. Like they had access to everything. And I remember panicking a little bit, trying to shut off my mind and somehow shut off my thoughts, hide my shame and moments of embarrassment. And they just started to calm me down, and everything paused, and they sent me love, and all I felt was pure, unconditional love. And they allowed me to feel accepted, and it was a feeling of total acceptance I've never felt in my entire life. Like I was fully seen, all flaws and all, and I was loved and accepted at that moment. And they said that you're good and you're loved, you're enough. And they said we humans, we judge ourselves so harshly, and that we don't understand who we really are. And then things started getting really serious. They showed me an image of Earth, like an animated hologram of the entire globe, and I remember I could see all of humanity everywhere. And they said that too many of us are still asleep, that life is not what we think it is. And they explained that there are forces who built constructs on Earth that are designed to keep us asleep, and that the truth belongs to all of us, but it's been hidden, and it's been happening for thousands of years. But something is coming now, and we have to start waking people up. And they showed me that how plant medicine and ayahuasca was gifted to us by nature as a tool, or an ancient technology helped to awaken people, and that not everybody will be awakened because you must heal first, and for those who continue, that their time will come. And they showed me the truth of humanity, how we are all not separate, we're not strangers, and we're not separated as humans, that we are all one, that all made of love, and we're all the same. I saw a vision of people waking up all across the globe like a growing wave of light, and people were rising up to help, to serve and protect what's good. And they said that we need more good people. And I asked, why are you telling me this? And they said that because you're a good person. And I don't know why, that just hit me. It just hit me so hard. And they began showing me moments of my life, very specific ones, where I chose to do the right thing. And even when it was hard, even when nobody was looking, they were watching. And I understood that those were like tests, and somehow those choices led me here to this very moment and to this video that I'm recording right now. And they said that I earned the right to receive this message, and that I'm being asked to help awaken humanity. And so I asked how, and they said, just share your story and teach people to look within. We're down to the final ceremony, and I still have so many questions, still trying to wrap my head around everything that I experienced so far. I do know the person who stepped off that plane is not the same person who's sitting here today. The facilitator said that the real work begins when you go home, part of integration. And this is really the first time I felt a deep sense of gratitude and connection towards other people, and it feels real good. Going into the final ceremony, it felt good. No fear, no hesitation, just excitement. I was just thinking about my entire journey so far. I freed a 5-year-old version of me that was stuck in the shadows for decades. I faced death and learned to let go of somebody who I thought I was. And I connected with something that felt like the guardians of humanity, and somehow I was called to help awaken others, and I asked, what could you possibly show me next to top that one? As I'll soon find out, ayahuasca always has something to share. About 20 minutes into the ceremony, I sat there with my eyes closed, and I wasn't getting any visuals this time, but the medicine hit me harder than ever. I felt it. It was immediate and felt just really deep. And then I felt the transmission and a message that came through, and it said that you're about to receive a gift, and that we saved the best for last. And then out of nowhere, I saw a soft light in the distance appear, and I could tell someone was coming through. It was my Korean grandma, our harmony. The moment I saw her, I broke. Not just crying, but purging through my tears. She was right in front of me. Bright. She was smiling. Radiant. She was telling me how much she missed me, and I was speechless. I was just shocked. Like, how could this be happening? I told her I missed her too, and I felt her hugging me, and I could feel it. And I could tell, like, this moment, she didn't just come to visit, like, she came with another purpose, and I knew we didn't have that much time. I just sensed it. Suddenly I was shown flashes of my childhood growing up in Korea, and all the different moments I spent with her, and all that time I spent with her, how she imprinted on me. And I got this massive download. The medicine revealed why that 5-year-old version of me, the one I freed in the first ceremony, why he got stuck in the first place. When I was 5, my dad got reassigned by the Air Force, and we had to leave Korea to move back to the States, which meant that I had to leave my harmony. And as a 5-year-old, I didn't understand how to process that heartbreak. So my subconscious shut down parts of me to protect me and locked it all away. And the medicine showed me that's the reason why I keep people at a distance. And that's why most of my life I've been private, not letting people in too close. And it was showing me because I was terrified. Letting people in meant that eventually having to lose them. And that's why parts of me have gone numb, and I've carried that numbness in so many parts of my life. All of a sudden I got sent through some sort of time warp, and my vision shifted to December 2016. My cousin FaceTimed me from a hospital in Korea. And I remember she turned the camera so I can see my harmony, weak, lying in the hospital bed, and at that moment I froze. I forgot so much Korean that I couldn't find the words. There was so much that I wanted to say to her, but I couldn't. and she passed shortly after, and I couldn't fully grieve because the same parts of me were still shut down, still numb. As soon as the vision ended, I saw another soft light, and someone else was coming through. My 5-year-old self appeared, and he stood right next to my harmony. They were both right in front of me, and he looked up at her and he smiled and he ran into her arms, and they both hugged. And then they both looked back at me smiling, and I felt this wave of love I can't describe. And then she took his hand, and together they walked into the light.
Perfect day for the road. The blue sky will take us home. We'll take it easy, we'll take it slow. It's a good day for the road. And time goes so fast when you're with the ones you love. But I won't worry today, even if time flies.